You're such an asshole.
How you kids doing? Howdy, Captain. I found this guy on YouTube about a month ago and thought he had some really good points. Being a fellow finance and economics nerd, I'd like to get your opinion on what he has to say. He has a lot of videos on YouTube, but the specific one I had in mind is Waste Management, Executive Sustainability Forum. It is a few years old, but now sums up his general ideas pretty well. It's almost an hour long, just so you know ahead of time. Yeah, I charged you for that. It's going to be a short video response, but I had to sit through that. Thanks, and if you're in Vegas, let me know. It'd be cool to meet you. Yeah, dude, I listened to it, and the guy's name is Peter Zeihan, and I'll be honest with you, this is not his fault. This is just not his fault. I'm completely wrong, because there was, I know this frontal lobe, but take my frontal lobes out of it, I'm like, my God, there's like this incredible urge within me to hurt this man. Like, I hate his guts. On a visceral, completely not intelligent level, I'm like, this guy I want to punch. And it is, and I wouldn't, and I don't mean that. I know I'm wrong, but I can't, it's something just inside of me, like, I don't trust this guy, I don't like this guy, I hate this guy. I'm sure he's well researched, but I don't want to meet Peter Zeihan. And I sure as fuck don't want to sit through another one of his lectures. And so for the listening audience, if you want to listen to it, he was a guest speaker at Waste Management's Sustainability Forum. And he went on to talk about why the United States is positioned geographically and from an energy standpoint, why it's positioned, and generationally speaking, he talked about different generation and demographics within these generations, and I was lost. I'm like, well, what the? He did what? And this is aside from him. This was about the topic. I'm like, why is he giving this speech? That was my number one complaint about the whole thing. I'm like, well, why are you giving that? What's your point? There was no overarching. It's just like he blurted out his theory and philosophy. He didn't lay down his theory or philosophy. You're left to reverse engineer. Well, why are you telling me this shit? And he went from demographics. No, he went from geography to demographics to energy. Like, oh, well, we have the world supply of natural gas and this. And you could tell he was very well researched. There's no doubt about it. He's got a lot of data. He knows a lot of data points. But as an economist, I was like, okay, what's your thesis? What's your point? What's your overall? And the impression, he's a strategist. He's a global strategist. I'm like, okay, all right. And that's where he lost me, is he made all these predictions. And I'm like, okay, number one, I would never make those predictions. I don't make predictions at all. So, well, that might happen. When? I don't know. Right off the bat, I am the world's greatest economist. Why, boys and girls? Because I tell you right off the fucking bat, I don't know. This is a guess. And he was like, well, you see, this is going to happen there, and this is going to, and these people are going to grow up, but they're going to be younger, but they have to, now that's going to happen later, but yeah, because of the price of tungsten, look out Southeast Asia. I'm like, what the fuck? And that's where I was like, maybe he does have this grandiose model of how the global economy works, but he sure as fuck didn't explain it or connect the dots. There was a lot of jumps, a lot of, well, see, these guys are here and this and that, and Canada, you guys are screwed. Why don't you like to breed? I'm like, well, I don't know, because you got, who would want to raise their kids in Canada today? And there was some stuff I'm like, sure, yeah, no doubt, you know, the price of an oil hole in the Bakken oil field, and the price, and I'm sure that, but I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't go to war with your economic model. I really wouldn't. And the world of any discipline or study, it's like, you know, this one thing, you know, very, very well, and all the supporting. This seemed like way too broad of a topic. Way too broad. For him to have some kind of, I don't want to use the word authority, but I don't know what else word we would use. He never claimed to be an authority, but he almost was like, I'm a futurist. And I'm like, oh, sure you are, buddy. And I was waiting, like, okay, is he going to talk about I don't know, labor productivity. He's going to talk about welfare. He's going to talk about a welfare state, the feasibility, budgets. None of that. And it was all energy, population growth, population demographics, and then some transportation and logistics. I'm like, well, that's a simple model. And maybe he's right. Maybe he figured out the three variables that we can figure everything else out in the world. He's found the critical choke points within global economics. Not even global economics, sociology, just the future in general. But then I was still, for the life of me, trying to figure out, why the hell is he talking to waste management? What does this have to do with sustainability? And I'm thinking, like, I must have missed some. Maybe this is a module within a larger retreat, a larger conference. He's just talking about, and then the master of ceremonies, whoever was, and introducing and taking people off the stage is, we welcome this guy. And then he asks, oh, cool, that great speech. It's always great. Well, what does that have to do with sustainability? I'm like, thank you. What? Because in the handful of speeches I've given in public, I introduced the topic. I said why I'm here. I just don't start blurting out, Cappy's theory on tungsten and hot air balloons and how they control natural gas prices. So I looked him up, and he went to some school of diplomacy. Already economics is a bullshit field, right? Don't major in economics. I told you not to. Don't. I did the wrong thing. I switched to finance. Don't major in finance either. You think it's more practical and applicable than economics, and it is. It's still a worthless fucking degree. But diplomacy, international relations, you know who has a degree in international relations? Your buddy Ocasio-Cortez, who only has managed to work as a bartender for 6 months. Or maybe a waitress, I don't know. Only real honest work yet. Highly unimpressed with the guy. Highly unimpressed. I'm sure he's very handsome. I downloaded the MP3 and listened. I didn't watch. I'm sure he's probably got a nice full set of hair. I'm just picturing a blonde guy, Chazzy Chazerson, the fourth. Hey, yeah. I don't ever want to hear another speech from him again. I wouldn't mind seeing some data and research. I'd love to see some charts and spreadsheets. I'd love to see his research. I don't ever need to hear him deliver a speech again. So, it was very nice to hear about how whoever controls the styrofoam market controls all of Northern Asia, or whatever the weird theories was that he has. But yeah, the old captain, I was not. And then there was that inexcusable gut reaction where I'm like, I don't like this guy. Just don't like this guy. So that's it. There you go. You paid for it, and I paid for it as well, listening to that speech. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.